Welcome to Office 2010 video number 2. Hey, in this video we're going to talk more about Windows Explorer. Hey, first thing I want to do is I want you to take your jump drive. Actually, before we put our jump drive in, I want to open Windows Explorer. This second video is about Windows Explorer and file management. So as we learned in our last video, the keyboard shortcut for Windows Explorer is Window E. Now the Window key sits between the Control and Alt key. So I'm going to hold the Window key and then tap E. So Window E. There is Windows Explorer. Left side shows us all of the drives and folders available to us. Whatever we select on the left then shows up the contents of that over on the right. Now I want you to put your jump drive in and watch right here. When I put this in, you'll see that a new drive pops up. And right there we can see the L drive. That's the same jump drive I've been used in the last video. Now I'm going to click on this side right here. And there are our folders we created in our last video. If I, on the left, click the plus, I can expand it. And then I can click and look inside whichever one I want. And sure enough, there's the files I created in the last video. Now, last video we talked about these extensions. We see the extensions in Windows Explorer, and we see them when we use Save As. Now, on some computers, this ability to see this is turned off. So I would like to show you how to show the file extensions. It's very important to show the file extensions, especially when you have a list of files and there's lots of different file extensions. And we will, in this class, learn how to, from inside of Word and Excel, create Excel and Word files and then change the extension either to a different type of Word document or Excel document. Sometimes we'll change it to a PDF. Other times we'll change it to an actual website. All right, so with Windows Explorer open, go up to Tools, Folders, Options. We want to go to the View tab. And then down here it says Hide Extensions for Known File Types. Now, some computers by default come with that check. You do not want this checked. So make sure, ding, 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 that that is not checked. And then click OK. So if I was to check this, I actually should have just done that. If I was to click Apply, then you can't see it, and that's not good information. We want to see when we're managing our files, we want to see those extensions. That gives us good information. All right, so uncheck it. All right, the next thing we want to do in this video is we want to create a couple files and one folder. I'm going to click on the Lexar. We're going to create a folder and then two files. And then we're going to learn a little bit about move, copy, deleting, and some selection tricks that we'll first learn in Windows Explorer but use in Excel and Word and PowerPoint also. Now I'm going to come over and create a new folder. I'm going to click in the white. And there's two ways. You can either right click, and remember when you're right clicking, you got to right click the thing you want. So if I right click up here, that's not the thing I want. That gives me options like close, right? I want to create a new folder inside of this drive, so I'm right clicking in the white. Right click, new, and folder. I'm going to click escape. Escape just closes the menus. The other way is that button. That's the way the textbook shows you. And as we saw last video, a keyboard shortcut. And we talked about this last video, the Alt keyboard shortcuts. Now I'll remind you one time, a couple more times in this class, and then we'll use Alt keyboard shortcuts, assuming that you know. But notice there's no underline under the F. But when I hit the Alt key, oh, it's underlined. Now I'm going to click Escape. What that means is when I hit Alt and I see the underline, I can then hit F. And then I notice that there's a W. I can hit the W. And then the F, and that gets me to the F folder. Now I'm going to click Escape and delete, because I actually didn't want that. I hit the delete key on the keyboard. I want to do that again, but now doesn't it seem like it takes a long time to Alt and then look for the F and then the W? Well, yeah, as you're learning it, it takes a while, but once you have it memorized, Alt FWF, boy, that is the fastest way. If your hands are already on the keyboard and you're creating lots of folders, there's nothing faster. Now I'm going to call this 2011 budget. Okay. Now notice when it came up, it was highlighted. I typed something. That cursor is still flashing. It's not until I hit Enter that it registers that name. Now something about Windows Explorer, you can actually click up here and it sorts them alphabetically. There's our budget. Now I can come over here and click on this and notice there's nothing inside here. Now I'm going to come down here and open Excel. So I'm going to click this down on the taskbar. I'm going to click the shortcut for Excel. And then immediately the cell A1 is highlighted. And all I want to do here, by the way, my ribbons in our last video, you saw that they were showing. What happened to them? You can right-click unminimize. There's also a keyboard shortcut, Ctrl F1, which is a toggle. We'll talk more about that over in when we study Word and Excel. Now in cell A1, I'm simply going to type budget. Enter. Now I want to save this. Notice title bar. That's a terrible name, book 1. Name of the program, our close, restore, down, maximize, minimize buttons, and then there are quick access toolbar over here. I need to name this, so I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut for save as, and that is F12. F12, there are 3 parts to save as. The first part is where do you want to save it? Well, I'm going to over here on the left scroll down and select my Lexar. Notice I double clicked and it not only opened it and showed you here, but it expanded it below. Last video we saw how to expand it just by using the pluses. And then I'm going to click on the budget. So where do I want to save it? That's the right location. You can see the file path up here. What do you want to call it? I'm going to call it January 2011 budget. What type is it? I am going to keep this as .xlsx. 1, 2, 3 parts to save as. I click Save. Now I'm going to come over to the shortcut here. If you don't see it here, then you go to Start, All Programs, Microsoft Office, and then you pick whichever program you want. I'm going to select Word. I'm going to immediately type budget. Enter. Notice I see these paragraph marks. I have my paragraph marks turned on, which when we study Word, that'll be one of the most important things we learn. Now, what's the keyboard shortcut for save as? Lo and behold, it's the same in Word and Excel, F12. F12. I'm immediately going to name it. Now, I want to name it something smart, just like I did the Excel file. Notice we have it. Well, remember, we're saving it in a file called 2011 budget. Well, this is a Word document, and we're going to write a letter about the budget. So I'm going to call it, just like I called the Excel one, January 2011 budget. If only I could type budget, and then I'm going to type letter to be explicit. January 2000, and boy. As you will see often in this class, I'm not a very good typer. So I make lots of mistakes. January 2011 budget letter. So where do you want to save it? Oh, I almost did the fatal flaw in file management, saving everything to my documents. So number 1, where do we want to save it? I'm going to click on the left. I'm going to use the plus there. I'm going to select my 2011 budget. I got my name. Where do you want to save it? What do you want to call it? And the file extension, that is fine. I'm going to click Save. Now, I'm going to close both of these. Now, notice I can see down here on the taskbar I have the indented one says this is the selected one. Word, the video program I'm using, Excel, and Windows Explorer. So I have 4 programs open. Now, I'm going to close this. Now, I could use this X, but you'll recall from last video we learned the keyboard shortcut Alt F4. Alt F4. That closes Word. Now, I can already see I can't type there. The keyboard shortcut for spell check, and this is as old as Control S and Control C. Control S for save and Control C for copy. F7. F7. It says you want to continue select spell checking. I'm going to say yes. It finds budget. I'm going to double click it. I'm going to click OK. All right, now I'm going to Control S. Now remember, F12, if I hit F12 right now, it opens up Save As, but I don't want that. I only use that when I'm changing the file location, the file name, or the extension. So I'm going to click Escape. I use Ctrl S. Now watch my cursor. There's the hourglass. Ctrl S saves it to the original location that you saved it, and it saves the changes. Now I'm going to use Alt F4. All right, I see my two files here. Now, copy and move. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm actually going to copy both of these files. And I need to, so we're going to copy first, and then we'll look at move, delete, and a couple other tricks. Now, how do I select both of these files? Well, one way to do it is to click on the first one and then hold the Shift key and click on the next one. That will highlight those two items here. Now, I'd like to copy these, but I would like to actually back them up. These are important files, and backing up is really important. Now, this is a portable, right? You could have some files here, and you want to back them up to a portable. But I want to I have something on these two files on the portable, but I want to back them up to another portable. So guess what? I'm just going to plug another portable drive in. This is actually, if I can get it in the front of the computer here. This is my old iPod Shuffle from and sure enough, it shows up here. So I'd actually like to copy these and paste them over here. All right, and now the keyboard shortcut for copy is Control C. Control C. And then I'm going to click over here and Control V. And there they are. So that is copying. And we copied from one drive, this location right here, over to another with our goal of backing them up. Now I have some extra files there in case anything happens to the Now I would like to remove this. And one way to remove it is to right-click and point to Eject. And that will eject it. And it's no longer there, and then I can pull it out. Now, we still want to look at move. I'm going to come back over here to the Lexar. And move means you actually remove it, and put it somewhere else. So I'm going to click on my second folder, and I want to cut it, and I want to move it to the desktop. I'm going to select, after selecting the Lexar, I'm going to select this over here. I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut Control X. Now watch, it'll get kind of grayed out. Control X. And now I'm going to click over on the desktop, and I'm going to Control V. And there I have moved it. Now when I go back over and look, I can already see it's gone over here, but when I click on it, sure enough, it's gone. So that's copy is Control C, Control V, and then move is Control X and Control V. Now I want to talk about delete, and very important. There's two different types of deletes. Let's start in the Lexar. What happens if I click here and hit the delete key? The message says, are you sure you want to permanently delete this folder? Well, for the time being, I'm going to click Escape. I could have clicked Yes, and it would have permanently deleted it. Now I'm going to go to the desktop, and I'm going to find my second folder right here. And now I'm going to hit the delete key again. And what does it say? Are you sure you want to move this folder to the recycling bin? Oh yeah, the recycling bin is a location that you see on the desktop. There's a little icon, and when you delete it, something from your C drive or the desktop, your actual computer, not a portable jump drive, it's polite. It puts it in the recycling bin, and then if you need it later, you can go get it there. All right, so I'm going to click Escape. Now I'm going to remember from last video the keyboard shortcut to show the desktop. It's Window D. Window D. There is the recycling bin right there. At any time you can right-click it and empty, or I'm going to click Escape. You can double-click it and open it. And then you could see whatever's in there and try to retrieve it. Now I'm going to close this. The only thing we wanted to see there, I'm going to come back here to the desktop down in the taskbar and click. Notice I have my iTunes software thing here. I'm going to right-click it, and notice I can right-click and point to close. And you can actually do that to any icon you see on the taskbar. All right, two things. Delete. When you are deleting from a portable jump drive, it permanently deletes it. When you delete it from the desktop or your C drive, in essence your computer, it puts it to the recycling bin. Now one other trick here, and I want to look at a selection trick. Go to my Lexar. And now I want to just create some folders of files here. So I'm going to right click in the white area, go to New, and no way, I can point to an Excel file here. And I'm just going to hit Enter because I'm not really doing anything. But notice it's polite. It lets you have the option of naming it. I'm going to hit Enter. Now I want to copy this. And I want to paste a bunch. I'm going to Control V and Control V and Control V and Control V. All I want to do with this next exercise is show you a selection trick. And this is the first time we'll see it. Let's just imagine we want to delete this one, and this one. Well, we could, there's a few ways to select multiple items, but we want to learn the difference between the Shift key selection trick and the Control key selection trick. Let's highlight the first one, and before clicking on this third one here, hold Shift. You see when I hold Shift, it highlights everything in between. Now let's click over here, and now click on this first one, and now hold Control and click on that one. So the difference is Control allows you to select items not next to each other. The fancy word for that is non-contiguous. So I can select non-contiguous files. Now I can do whatever I want. Delete or move or copy. Delete. I'm going to say yes. Now Shift. I'm going to select this first one, and now I'm going to hold Shift and select the last one. When you use the Shift, the two bookend ones and everything in between gets selected. And then I can do whatever I want. Move, copy, delete. And we'll see that trick in Word and Excel and PowerPoint quite a lot. All right, that was how to change file extensions, how to copy, how to move, the two different types of delete, and even a selection trick in Windows Explorer. When we come back in our next video, we will see how to create our system of folders that we're going to use every day in this class. All right, see you next video.